Captain Haaland and Mbeumo in, and who else am I looking at with my second free transfer? Welcome to the Gianni YouTube show. Hope you guys are well. Game week 14 deadline. Here we go. It's decision time. I've been holding on my transfers all week because of the European football. Many went early on players like Mbeumo, and I get that. There were price rises, but for me, points over pounds and information is so important. So many players playing midweek. It's not just your Champions League teams anymore. The fact that the likes of West Ham, Aston Villa, Brighton, Liverpool, all in Europe as well. There are 4 teams that we always have an interest with FPL as well. So probably more than ever, those Thursday night games have really mattered. What have we learnt from Thursday night? Well, Ollie Watkins and Darwin Núñez both on the bench, which was good. And we're going to talk about Watkins versus Darwin later in the show because I've got a bit of a conundrum on that one. Salah started. We didn't see that one coming either. So did Tsimikas, by the way. The likes of Trent were rested. So here we go. Shall we have a look at my team and how I'm set up for game week 14? Before we do, let's just have a quick look at the points I got last time out. 53, meh. A small green arrow, so I can't complain. The likes of Saka, Gabriel, Lascelles, Haaland was the right captaincy call. Great. I'm fairly happy with where I'm at. This is the busiest time of the year with FPL. Probably the most exciting time of the year where fixtures now come thick and fast. There are teams like Aston Villa and Liverpool who are going to have 3 Premier League games in 6 days. Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday turnarounds. So this is where it starts getting a bit crazy. Tuesday deadline next week as well. Don't worry, I'll have you covered for streams and, of course, videos on Monday and Tuesday next week. Guys, if you're enjoying this video so far, or you want to show support to the channel, hit that like button nice and early for me, will you? And, of course, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. There's questions over this. There's questions over who I benched. There's questions over who I should captain. There's questions over who my second transfer in should be. So, at the moment, we've got Areola in goal. Fine. He's going to get another week. If he doesn't keep it clean versus Crystal Palace, I might just go Sanchez. I might go Raya. I don't think I'm going to go Kelleher because it seems like Alisson might only miss 3-4 games, not 5-6 games. Gabriel, Tsimikas and Taylor have all got really nice home fixtures. So at the moment, yeah, Taylor from Burnley is in the starting 11 over a Lascelles, who has a home fixture, over a Matty Cash, who has huge upside. But Taylor, if ever he's going to keep a clean sheet, Sheffield United at home is the best fixture any team could wish for in the Premier League at the moment. And Burnley have been playing some all right stuff. Like they outplayed their opponents last weekend and still somehow managed to drop points. So look, I'm going for Taylor to keep it clean, and this is his week for 6 points, surely. Sheffield United have been so disappointing. I can't remember a team that disappointing actually in the Premier League for a while. Like, I look back to teams like Norwich. I think Sheffield United have been so bad. Diaby's going to be sold from Mbeumo. Son, Salah, Palmer, like that fixture for Palmer. Brighton without Dunk. Brighton having played on Thursday night. And then Saka at Wolves off the back of Saka's big returns on Tuesday in the Champions League. Then Watkins and Haaland. No, Saka played Wednesday in the Champions League, didn't he? Big win for Arsenal there, by the way. We talk about Arsenal attack not delivering. And it's not in the Prem. It is in Europe. Watkins and Haaland up front. At the moment, captaincy is on Haaland over Salah. We'll talk about captaincy in a sec, but let's just talk about my transfers in. So, big dilemma. Mbeumo's in for Diaby, right? I haven't clicked the buttons on that, but that's going to happen. Guys, we don't need to talk too much about Mbeumo. The world and their dog are bringing him in, and I'm all for it. If you need a little bit of confirmation as to why, without looking at stats, because the stats suggest you have to bring him in. The penalties are there. Brentford produce tons of big chances, and when they do, they fall his way like they used to fall Tony's way. I've got some average position maps to show you, though, from SofaScore, and these are the last 3 fixtures. Just check this out in terms of how advanced he is. This one, against Arsenal, last time out, looks like a Mo Salah average position map. Most advanced man, down the right, at times fairly central, right? Against Liverpool, again, this was an away fixture. He played more central, but still the most advanced man, like number 9, right? Trying to hit Liverpool on the counter-attack, and Mbeumo's very central. And then you see them against a team like West Ham, so slightly easier opposition, and this is what will happen perhaps against Luton, and he might not be clearing away the most advanced man. Like we can see there, number 7, Neil Maupay, is pretty much level with him, and Mbeumo is a little bit wider. So expect to see that in the next couple of game weeks. This is the sort of average position I'd expect from Brentford in the next couple of games, which are easier. Does that still look like a very good average position map? Hell yeah, it does. It's Mo Salah-esque. So they're the last 3 game weeks of Mbeumo. Always good to check that one out. Taylor's going to be in ahead of cash in the starting 11. But then the big question for me is, do I stick with Ollie Watkins or do I go for a short-term punt on Darwin Núñez? And the reason why I'm considering this is simply because I've got 2 frees. When I look at the next 4 or 5 weeks, there's not a ton of transfers I want to make. Like Matty Cash needs to be swapped with either a Walker, a Reece James, a Porro, right? And I'll get to that in a couple of weeks. Areola might have to go to a Sanchez or a Raya. Fine. That's kind of about it. Like Mbeumo, Son, Salah, Palmer, Saka, that midfield 5 is set for a while. Haaland is set forever. And I just wonder if I go Watkins to Darwin, 3 weeks, 3 games, and then back to Watkins. And I know that's 2 transfers. And I know that could sting me because everyone owns Watkins. But I can't help but look and compare the 2 players for the next 3 weeks or 3 games. And I just look at the opponents, and I'm a fixtures-led manager. And I'm like, oh, that's so much better for Darwin, these fixtures. Now, right, let's just compare both from sort of the outset. Both can't ever hit a barn door, but both are good FPL assets on their day. Both miss a ton of big chances, but both get a ton of chances, right? So that's similar FPL. Neither of them are on penalties. Like, what, 50% of number 9s in the Premier League are on pens? Not these 2 guys. Now, minutes, Watkins will play every minute of the next 3. Darwin won't. There's even a question mark, does Darwin start 3 in a row? 3 and 6. They both have a Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday turnaround next week. Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday. I'm slightly nervous. Darwin starts at home, but then it's 2 away trips. So Fulham at home, then he's got to get to Sheffield, not too bad, pretty close to Liverpool, and then down to London for Crystal Palace. Ollie Watkins slightly easier. He travels to Bournemouth, but then he's got the comfort of the midweek Wednesday and then the Saturday, 2 home games versus Arsenal and Man City. Now, let's just chat Watkins first. Is he a long-term hold, someone you want, or is he someone you want long-term? Yeah. So I know if I sell Watkins, I'm going to want to go back to him. Because whilst the fixtures are bad, they've got Brentford after Arsenal. And then they've got Sheffield United, I think, in that blank game week 18. So we're going to want Watkins back, certainly for 18. Darwin has 3 really good games, but then he goes on a bit of a tough run. So it literally would be a 3-game punt on Darwin. Now, Ollie Watkins has 2 home games against City and Arsenal, and Villa are incredible at home. And I have to consider that when I make this decision. Do I look at Ollie Watkins and go, you'll score against Man City and you might get a return against Arsenal or vice versa? There's 2 returns there in 2 games. What there isn't for Watkins is huge upside in both those games. I cannot see a world in which Ollie Watkins gets double digits in either of those fixtures because he's playing the best 2 defences in the league, home or away. Darwin, I can see a world in which he gets double digits in any of those 3 games. Fulham, Palace, Sheffield United. They're really good fixtures. So I'm tempted. Do I go there? I'm not so sure. Let's just look at the XG per 90. By the way, if you're into stats, Fantasy Football Scout, go check them out. There's a link in the description. You all know of Scout. If you're not a member and you're into data, you really should be a member. 1.26 expected goal involvement per 90 for Darwin this season. 1.26 expected goal involvement XGI per 90. I'm saying it twice because it's incredible. His output's never as good. Same with Darwin. These are really good numbers for Darwin too. 0.98 XGI. This is all non-penalty because neither of them taken them per 90. So what that says is every 90 minutes of football or 98 minutes of football for Watkins, there's a return. And football matches are around that 98 minutes long. Darwin, there's a return more than every 90. He just rarely plays 90. That's the problem. But I think he's clearly Liverpool's number 9 now. Also, Jota's injury. Luis Diaz is going to have to play every minute on the left-hand side, isn't he? And when he doesn't, Hakpo could come in. Hakpo could play 9. Of course he could. But Darwin, if he does well against Fulham, I think he starts. I think they find a way in which he starts versus Palace. It was telling, Palace and Sheffield United. It was telling on Thursday night when Darwin was benched. It was telling off the back of South America. In the early kickoff on Saturday against Man City, Darwin still started. He is Klopp's new number 9, make no doubt about it. So do I make the move from Watkins to Darwin? I will be telling you guys on social media on Saturday morning. It probably is going to be a Saturday call for me. And do I think I need to go back to Watkins in a couple of weeks' time? Yeah. Am I okay doing that? I think so, because when we look at my team, I don't have a ton of other fires. Sure, I've mentioned Cash, goalkeeper. Other than that, I think I'm all right for transfer. So let me know in the comments, are you thinking, Gianni, you're crazy? Because Watkins owners, I've realised after tweeting this, Watkins owners are a little bit protective over the idea of selling. But I just want to take stock, right? FPL is very samey at the moment. We all have very similar looking teams. How can I differentiate? How can I find marginal gains? And as a content creator, it's very easy just to go boring and same old. And I've got a fairly template team. And it's just easy to go, good rank, good game week, next week, I tell you all to buy Mbeumo again. You don't want that from your content creators, do you? Like, sure, I'm going to tell you to buy Mbeumo because I think he's the best pick this week and I'm buying him. But you also surely like having your eyes open to other ideas. And I think that's what I'm trying to do here with Darwin. I'm not telling you all to sell Watkins and buy Darwin. And I'm certainly not saying Watkins is a bad pick. I think Watkins will score good points in the next 3 games. I just think Darwin has a much higher ceiling and will score more. And that's what FPL sometimes comes down to. You have to sell a good asset to get a better asset. Am I talking myself into the Darwin move? The more I talk to you guys about this, the more I'm thinking maybe I do it. But I've got to keep my head and I've got to go, do I want those other transfers in a couple of weeks' time because we're going to get injuries? Do I want to have 2 transfers always in the bank for this festive period? In an ideal world, yes, I do. Therefore, should I be looking at short-term punts before we've even hit silly season? Maybe not. So I genuinely think I'm 50-50 on this call, right? So as I said, I'll post on social, Instagram. I'll post on Instagram on Saturday lunchtime what I'm doing. How about that? I'm on Sky Saturday morning and then I come off. Unfortunately, we've got a slightly later deadline than normal on Saturday. Captaincy, I said we'd talk about it. Haaland versus Salah all week. I think I'm cool with Haaland. When I set on my bus team, I went straight to Haaland. The armband hasn't moved all week. I just look at Spurs and I look at the fact that Romero's not there. Well, both centre-backs, both first-choice centre-backs aren't there. We could see Dyer come in or we could see Davies and Emerson at centre-back. Regardless, 2 of those 3, Haaland has fun. Haaland at home, I just can't back against him. Salah's been flying, of course he has at home. But I think Fulham can do a job and I think they'll concede, but I don't see them conceding big. Like maybe 3 worst-case scenario Fulham concede, possibly 4. Spurs could concede similar. Sure, but it could be a crazy game. It could be a 4-all. I don't know. I just feel like the ceiling is maybe a little bit higher for Haaland. A little bit. And I also think he's a little bit more reliable than Salah. So I'm just going to go Haaland this week, guys. I think I'm pretty set on that. I'd say I'm 80-20. There'd have to be some news, I think, for me to change my mind. So I'm pretty sure it's Haaland. I'm set on my bench as well. I'm going to bench Matty Cash and go for Taylor. And Mbeumo is coming in. And I'm 50-50 on Darwin versus Watkins. There we go. Guys, I'm going to try and do a live stream as well on Friday reacting to the press conferences. So look, if you're just watching this or you've watched this after I've done that stream, go back and check the press conference reaction out. Because there's so much news coming out of press conferences at the moment. Because it's just the congestion of fixtures is players are getting injured, right? We're going to see more and more rotation, which is why having a good bench is probably quite key at the moment. Guys, thank you so much for liking and subscribing. One more thing, if you fancy becoming a YouTube member, you get all priority comments. I'm going to try and do some members-only YouTube videos as well. And if you want to be an Ultras member on that YouTube platform, like there's 2 tiers. If you want to be Ultras tier, you can join the WhatsApp group. That's loads of fun. Me and a few others in a WhatsApp group. We chat every day about FPL. So come and join that one if you fancy it. Guys, for now, good luck this game week. I'll see you on a live very soon. I see big green arrows this week for many. I think you guys are going to have a good week. I'm sure the FPL community in general is going to get big, juicy greens. Go well. The only thing that could really hurt is if you back the wrong captain. Haaland blank, Salah Halls, and you go Haaland. That's the only slight concern. But I'm in it to win it. I'm going Haaland because, well, it's just been on Haaland since day 1 this game week. Guys, I'll see you very soon.